Good afternoon. Welcome to DDAG Open House Edition 11. I am Mugdha, your host for the evening. Today's guest is a well-known figure in geotechnical industry, Dr. Rajpal Singh. Topic of his presentation today is tunneling with dress methodology at Tala Hydroelectric Project, Bhutan. Dr. Rajpal Singh graduated in civil engineering from Punjab Engineering College, Chandigarh in 1977. He completed his MTech in 1979 and PhD in 1985 in rock mechanics from IIT Delhi. He joined CSMRS in 1985. He worked as head of quality control and instrumentation for construction of 1020 megawatt Tala hydroelectric project, Bhutan. He retired as joint director and head of rock mechanics in CSMRS, New Delhi. Presently, he is working as top level expert in Webcos Limited. He is working very actively and has been involved in the construction of several prestigious projects in India, Bhutan, Myanmar, Nepal, and Afghanistan. I now request Dr. Rajbal Singh to take over and start with his presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mugdha, and I'm thankful to DDAG for giving this opportunity to share my experiences on a hydroelectric project. And today I'm going to talk about tunneling with DRESS methodology. I have divided this presentation in introduction of Tala hydroelectric project, as this project is constructed by Government of India. It's a very prestigious project we have constructed abroad. Then satellite tunnel construction, then instrumentation for tunnel, upheaval in tunnel, support system, cost of the tunnel, and conclusion. This Tala hydroelectric project is the symbol of friendship between the Government of India and the Royal Government of Bhutan. Tala hydroelectric divided into 5 construction packages: C1, C2, C3, C4, C5, and package part of C1 package, C2, C3, C4 were HRD package. C1 was dam and its appurtenant works, and C5 was the powerhouse package. The concrete dam was 92-meter high and 130-meter length. It was located just 3 kilometers downstream of Chukka powerhouse, which was constructed by the Government of India in 1986 and working very efficiently. We had a diversion tunnel of 6.8 meter diameter, 356 meter length, and the water was diverted during one season. That was the achievement. We had 3 desilting chambers. We had a headless tunnel of 6.8 meter diameter and 23 kilometer long. It's a part of the surf shaft, 15 to 12 meter diameter and 184 meter height. This is a top view of the surf shaft. This is the pressure shaft ferrule erection. Then we have the powerhouse of 206 meter length, 20.4 meter width, and 44 meter height. It has 6 generators of 170 megawatt each, and in total generating 1020 megawatt. And we have underground transformer hall, tailless tunnel of 3.1 kilometer length. I can skip some of the project. This is the His Majesty visiting the project, Mr. Khajanchi, who was the managing director, Mr. Punchanorbu, joint managing director. And we, besides looking after the quality control, I conducted 2 international conferences there, and it was well attended, Chairman CWC. And this was CSMR's team doing drilling, and then we did this hydraulic fracturing test there. As per DPR, the time of completion for the project was 8 years, and it was completed in 8.5 years. The cost of completion for this project was 4,321 megawatt. It came out to be 424 crores per megawatt, which is, I think, minimum during that period. And the project was financed by the Government of India. It was 60% aid to the Bhutan, and 40% was the loan which was to be returned in 12 years with an interest of 9%, and that loan has been recovered now. The project was constructed with Indian technology, and no foreign expertise was allowed. The cost per unit which we are getting for India is 1 rupee 80 paisa per unit for India and 30 paisa per unit for Bhutan. But as per the agreement, Bhutan cannot draw more than 15% of the power during a year. This power is coming about 250 megawatt is coming to Delhi and 200 megawatt UP, and rest is going to Bihar, Jharkhand, and West Bengal. Now I come to the HRT. It was 23.32 kilometer long, and it has a rock cover of 70 to 950. I am skipping some of the parts as time is less now. Number of working phases were 11, and we constructed this 298-meter tunnel in extremely weak rock mass condition with the DES methodology. It was worst condition, and you can see it here. This was Kalikhola edit and Mirchinchu edit. I'm going to talk about this, so I'm telling you. And this side, Surchat, there was no problem while excavating this tunnel, this side, downstream side. Upstream side, we met with a problem, then we diverted this tunnel. Again, we met with the same kind of conditions. So we came out about 110 meters away from this. And from Mirchinchu, we were somewhere here when we faced same problem from this side also. So we straightened this portion also. This is the longitudinal section of HRT. In DPR also, it was predicted that HRT between Mirchinchu and Kalikhola may meet poor to very poor tunneling conditions with limited stand-up time due to gentle topography, low rock cover zones, deep weathering, presence of soft rock like water charge, biotite and quartz biotite schist, and adversely oriented discontinuities. The geology at the DPR stage was anticipated as 75% in class 2 and 3 and 25% in class 4 and 5. But we could get only class 3, 25% in class 3 and about 67% in class 4 and 5. And it was about 10%, including 4.69% in adverse geological occurrence. And this was the reversal, which got the project delayed. This Kalikhola downstream, there was no problem. Kalikhola upstream phase, the rock mass conditions started deteriorating from channel 662 meter with unstable crown and face, large overbreaks, flowing squeezing rock mass conditions. And we did all tunneling methodology, but including consolidated routing with polythene, everything was done, side drift. You can see it here, all kinds of, but we could proceed only 12-meter tunnel in 2 years. And for that,
you are using 6 rock classes. So if it is Benevisky, it should be 5, or if it was Barton, then it should be 10. So which classification you have used? Rock mass.
We used Barton classification. Only 6 classes we used, and this beyond class 6 actually we called it adverse geological occurrence.
Okay, so
in fact, I think this was old methodology.
Okay, so you have it means redefined the range of Barton's Q values for various classes, because normally Barton is using 9 categories of rocks. So here it is 6 or 1 AGO, so it becomes 7. So can you show us a chart for each rock class, that Q value from this to this is class 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, in case it is there.
That is not readily available with me, because I did not want to concentrate more on geology.
No issue. Please proceed.
Then tunnel collapsed on 16 July 2002 during the monsoon, heavy monsoon, and which infilled 70 meter already excavated stretch by about 3,500 cubic meter of muck. And then we decided to divert the tunnel. In fact, our MD was at site and he told it at there that God has given us the opportunity now to divert this alignment. And we took the decision, and at chain 607 meters, leaving 110 meter up towards the hill and at 45-degree angle, we started, and we abandoned about 102 meters of already excavated HRD portion, and post blast was taken on diverted alignment on 17th of July. Next day only we took first blast, and we called it exploratory tunnel till we get a decision from both the governments. Main decision was going to come from the government of India, as Central Water Commission was the design consultant. So this is the phase collapse. We were lucky enough, the persons working at site were they took a decision after listening some cracking in the ribs. They took a decision to remove all the machineries, and in fact, few of them were running ahead of this muck. So they had that kind of experience, and this is the kind of conditions we had it. This was the finally muck coming out, settling there, and then this is the diverse alignment, and we were getting a very good rock at this location when we were getting a vertical face like this. But after some time here also we started cracking of ribs at the ground, and there's some more cracking, more muck coming out. And when we, after repairing, when we removed the muck, we could see this shear zone portion. And after we started excavating tunnel from this side, after some time we saw the same kind of condition from Mitching side also. So this is how the tunnel was diverted from Mitching side and Kalikola side. So then we were ready actually, because we were already facing some problems on this tunnel. We were ready with DRESS methodology, which is nothing but drainage, rock reinforcement, excavation, and support solution. You do it simultaneously. Drainage, we were having a long holes of drainage at the face, and then we were going ahead. 4-pole umbrella, we had 4 poles. These are the 4 poles which we were applied. They were 12 to 15 meter length and 100 millimeter in diameter. This is the excavation being done, and there was formation of cavities and collapse of faces also. So this is the support system simultaneously. First was 4 poles, then it was excavated and ribs were installed, and annular space between the ribs was also filled with SFRS. Instead of generally M15 concrete is filled, but here, because it was easy to do it with SFRS and we required it, so we did it with the SFRS. Even face was also supported with SFRS, and even in some extremely weak rock mass conditions, we supported it with wire mesh and SFRS. And this is the 5 holes. Actually, even some water is coming out of this hole. So we were putting this drainage hole. At some locations, we had to go for heading and benching also. You can see this umbrella and you can see this ribs. This is the portion of excavated tunnel with the DRESS methodology. And this is how generally this angle of 4 poles is 8 degrees. Hello. And then you can see the 4 poles from Kalikola side. This is from Mitchingsu side. And if I summarize this, number of 4 poles from Kalikola side was 21, number of 4 poles 42, number of umbrella 21 sets of 4 pole, and number of 4 poles 43 to 47. Excavated and supported length was 6 to 10 meter, number of trees 10 to 21, and time taken 16 to 46 days for one 4-pole reach. In the beginning, it was 46, but by the time we gained the experience, then we tried to reduce the number. We tried to increase the width by centimeters between the ribs so that we can install more ribs, but it was not possible. Mirchinchu side, it was 16 number of 4 poles, 33 to 47. Here, the time was less as compared to this because of the experience we gained on Kalikola upstream side. We did this tunneling with the test methodology with the strict quality control on testing of materials, steel fiber info shotcrete, ribs, and my anchors, regular monitoring through the planned instrumentation with targets and load cell. Each set of 4 pole was monitored with targets and load cells. We improved this SFRS mixed design also. Instead of 525 cement in normal throughout the project, we used 550, and then we revised the design to get a better strength. And we were measuring 3 days, 7 days, and 28 days strength. We were plotting it also simultaneously for both the sides. I summarize this test methodology here. Similar sequence of excavation and support followed in successive stages of 4 poling. Generally, 41 to 50 pipe 4 poles have been used in an umbrella, depending upon rock. 21 4 poles umbrella done from Kalikola upstream side in 160 meter length in 20 months, and 16 4 pole umbrella installed from Mirchinchu side 138 meter length in 14 months. So 21 to 46 days taken in putting a 4 pole umbrella. If we consider that Barton's system of class 6, it would have taken 5 months to tackle this reach, but it took 20 months in the AGO reach. And considering this class 6, it would cost about 15 crores, whereas in AGO reach, the tunnel costed about 80 crores. Now I come to the instrumentation. The instrumentation for this tunnel, generally we have MPBX at the ground and at the hinge level, and then anchor load cell. Then we have rib load cell, strain meter, and piezometers. So this is the kind of instrumentation we do. These are the load cell. I am talking about this AGO reach only as far as instrumentation is concerned. And we got load on the ribs up to 134 tons. And you can see this whenever this high increase in the loads were there, we used to install my anchors to release the water. And as soon as the water was released, the load was coming up, but again it was getting ovulating and load was increasing. Wherever in my anchors we were not getting water, then we were leaving it as a support system. So that was the advantage of with my anchors. These are the convergence. We got it up to 173.64 starting from 2016. And if you see, it was taking, if you see this stabilizing trend, it was taking 2 to 4 months actually to get the tunnel stabilized. This is another experience. We got it that this is the convergence. We got the convergence from 12 millimeter to 211 millimeter. But at one point we were getting a very high amount of, and we were really worried because this line was different than the normal routine lines. And when we were here, we put another set of targets here. And if you see the behavior of this was coming like this. This is the same behavior we got it, and then we were satisfied. And we asked the contractor what went wrong, why did we get so high reading? So to adjust his machine, he hit those ribs during installation of the machine, and because of that, actually this high deformations were there. So we should be careful while doing the experiment. Then while seeing this high displacement, we plotted rate of convergence along the length of the tunnel. And if you see in the month of January, the rate was very, very high. But if you see in September, it came down, and we thought that we are going towards the stabilizing trend. This is the upheaval in the bottom of the tunnel. I'll be showing some slide. Actually, I changed it. I could not get it. And if you see from Mirchinchu side, we got upheaval of the tunnel 50 millimeter to 350 millimeter. And it's a very, very important part when we do the dress methodology. We are having bottom studs. So bottom studs should be installed properly, and there should be proper concrete also. Anyway, because invert is most of the time avoided during the construction of the tunnel. So we got this upheaval. I'll show you some figures also. And here this convergence was only 173.62 millimeter. On the Kalikhola side, we got 50 mm to 448 mm, and here the convergence was 456. But that was only one case, otherwise it was around 211 millimeter. This is the upheaval in the tunnel. These are the rectified portion. You can see this curved, this, and we could get some cracking also. Then we had to rectify these ribs. You can see this cracked, totally cracked rib, and this is the rectified portion. And in fact, bottom studs should always be welded together with the vertical ribs. And if you don't do that, then there are going to be problem when upheaval is there. At some location, there was a difference in the elevation because these ribs were already installed. So here, to weld it with the vertical ribs, we had to do it this way. We may call it a jugaad technology, which is being used in most of the projects when we work together at the site. And you can see this concreting, it should be done properly. And we did alternate concreting to rectify all these ribs. All these ribs were attached with the vertical ribs. If you see the summary of instrument observations in the tunnel, we got the load on the ribs, it was 174 tons. Load on the rock bolt was only 14 tons. Displacement, maximum displacement through MTBX, we got it 91 millimeter, and convergence, the total station, we got 464 millimeter, upheaval up to 440 mm. It was much more than the convergence, because convergence is coming from both sides and it is going from upward. Water pressure is through piezometers 1.32 kg per centimeter. It is very rare actually to get the actual magnitude of pore water pressure, because once you excavate the tunnel, the water gets released. So it's very difficult to measure this unless water is accumulated behind the tunnel. You will not be able to measure this pressure. Whenever you get the cracking in the concrete, it means there is some destabilizing trend, and you have to go for remedial measures. For remedial measures in such conditions, high magnitude of deformation or convergence, then we had the installation of my anchors to release pore water pressure. And as I told you earlier, wherever water was not coming through my anchors, we left it, we grouted it and left it so that it worked as a support. Additional 25 millimeter thick layer of SFRS, runners on the rib, and when you take the remedial measures, same remedial measures can be monitored with the help of the available instruments at the critical section. These are the runners on the rib, and you can see this my anchor installed with SFRS, and these are the my anchors for drainage, and we clubbed it with the plastic pipe so that there is a smooth passage and there is no dripping of the water in the passage of the workers going towards the face of the tunnel. Now I come to the support system. I have briefed it here. We had SFRS and rock bolts for class 1, 2, and 3. We had steel ribs and backfill concrete and increased thickness of SFRS and rock bolting for class 4. Steel ribs with backfill concrete for class 5 and 6. And we applied this DRESS methodology, drainage, reinforcement, excavation, and support solution technique of excavation supporting by deploying 4-pole machine in Agio Ridge. And final, the tunnel was supported with a concrete lining of about 60 mm thickness. Because we had the upheaval in this Agio Ridge. So this is the very heavy section given by the designers, and generally, I think I can go to, generally in a tunnel, we do the curve, invert curve, we do it. then we do the over concrete lining, and then we do it invert lining. But in the case of AGO Reach, first we did invert and curve, and then we did overt lining. So it was reversed because of the problems in AGO and heavy reinforcement at the bottom of the tunnel. Generally, in a normal routine tunnel, we don't have that heavy reinforcement. This is the collapsible telescopic shutter for overt concreting. This is a finished shape of headbridge tunnel. This is the reinforcement before lining. And I have already told you that for AGO Reach, we did invert and curve line first, and then we did overt lining. This is the finished shape of the tunnel in AGO Reach. Now, I did this exercise. I published a paper also on this. Actually, cost of the tunnel when you go from one category to another. So we 1 and 2 class, we did not get it. Class 3 is 2.17 lakh per meter, per running meter, and diameter is 6.8. That is the finished diameter. In class 4, it is 3.39. Class 5, 4.07 lakh per running meter. In class 6, 6.27 lakh per running meter. And in AGO Reach, we got it a huge amount of 28.10 lakh per running meter. So this is the difference when you do the tunneling in different classes of rock. As Dr. Dhaman was requested with me, I did not include more slides, but this is the excavated view of the powerhouse at Tala project, where we had a lot of problems on cracking of rock bolts and other many problems were there because of high, very, very high stress in this region. When vertical stress was in the tune of around 11 MPa and horizontal stresses were 12 to 16 MPa. So there were very, very high stresses. And because of that, we got many problems. Finally, we got upheaval also. But when we did the instrumentation, we did the rock bolting at the invert also. And we did instrumentation. We installed MPBX at the bottom. And we could see that out of the 16 meter, 20 meter depth of extensometer MPBX, in the first 1 meter only, we got the maximum deformations, and with time that upheaval got stabilized. As far as my conclusion and recommendations are concerned, the adverse geological occurrence encountered in the HRT from Kalikhola upstream and Mitching to downstream phase in the revised alignment was tackled using DRESS technique, which I have described to you. Timely remedial measures were implemented based on the strict quality control and instrumentation. That is a must during the construction of project. This initial investment in very high for implementing DRESS technique, but considering the progress of the work, safety of workmen, and stability of the tunnel in exceptionally poor rock mass condition, as encountered in the AGO Reach of Tala hydroelectric project in Bhutan, it was considered as the most appropriate tunneling method, and it is recommended that for long tunneling projects, especially in Himalayas, facilities for implementing this technique should be available at the project site to tackle similar exceptionally poor tunneling conditions, as we got this kind of condition in most of the hydroelectric projects. JP was working as contractor at Tala hydroelectric project, and then immediately after that he got this Karcham Wangdu project, and he had this machine in place because Nathpa Jagli also this kind of problems were there. So he had this machine at site, and they did 600 meter of tunneling by using DRESS methodology For this Rohtang highway tunnel also, there were some problem. I went there as part of DST team, and there also I gave them the details of this methodology, and it was applied there also to tackle this Sarinala problem and tunneling in weak rock mass condition. So this methodology is being applied world over, and particularly very, very successful in our Himalayan region. Jai Hind, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the lecture, and I welcome the questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Singh. We have a couple of questions with us. First question is by Mr. Upreti. He's asking that what are my anchors?
My anchor, actually, I had some slides in this. I removed it because of the time constraint. This my anchor is a hollow anchor, and we drilled it, and then we can grout it. It has a hole. It's a hollow my anchor, and we can grout it. And suppose water is coming, then we can leave it. So we can use it as drainage pipe also, and we can have it as support system also. It is very, very useful, available in different diameters, and we used it in our desilting chamber also. And I think it was a very, very useful because in such condition, it is very, very difficult to do the drilling and then you install the rock bolt. So it has a bit built in that. So you just drill it, and then you can grout it. It has a hollow cylinder, and it's a very useful. I think you can see the literature on internet also. It's very available.
And the next question is if you can explain the term DRESS, that is what the DRESS stand for, once again, in brief.
That I told you in the beginning is drainage, reinforcement, excavation, and support solution. You do it simultaneously. You'll have to do it first. You look after the drainage, then you put some reinforcement in terms of 4-pole, which is available, I think, shown in this last slide also. And these are the drainage. Then you do this, and then you do the excavation. And after that, you put this rib support and annular space. As I told you, at this project, we filled it with SFRS because there was no time actually that you put the legging and then you put concrete behind. The rock was not giving that much time to us at this project site. So this is the meaning of the DRESS. Thank you very much. Next.
Imran sir has raised his hand. Mr. Imran Saeed.
Yeah,
sir, good afternoon.
I can interact with him.
Wonderful.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much, Imran sir. Yeah.
Wonderful lecture once again. The best thing I liked about it, very few people talk about the costs involved in different classes of rock. This is what we have been telling people again and again कि poor rock को handle करना बहुत मुश्किल होता है, उसमें cost भी बहुत high आती है. लोग ये समझते हैं कि 1.5 टाइम होता है. ये आपने बिल्कुल बहुत अच्छे तरीके से फिगर्स में समझाया, और ये सब लोगों को इसको you should note it that avoid very poor geology to the extent possible, because that is what going to cut down your cost and also time. Thank you for a very nice lecture.
Thank you very much, Imran Saab, for raising this issue. In fact, this was not my area, but out of my curiosity, I wanted to see what is the difference. And then I collected this data through construction people. And in fact, there's looking at this, there should be some provision in the contract document to have this flexibility.
Yeah.
So that contractor and management at project site, they don't face any difficulty. So some flexibility should be there in contract document.
So that, you know, the estimates are also more reliable.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Wonderfully explained.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Imran sir.
Move the next.
I guess we don't have any more questions as of now. So I thank once again Dr. Rajbal Singh for this wonderful and very informative lecture. So with this, we come to the conclusion of today's open house.
May I say a few words?
Sorry?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, due to the constraint of the time and disturbance in the beginning, I had to go a little faster and I avoided some of the things in between also, because otherwise it was going to take a very long time, and I tried to finish it. Actually, I think it was up to 5 o'clock, and question answers also. We have finished it by 5:06 now.
Well, Mugdha, certainly it was a very interesting lecture. Dr. Rajbal Singh, I, on behalf of DDAG, express my gratitude to you and thanks. And I really appreciate you that in spite of some initial glitches, technical glitches, you could manage well in time. And we could not notice that whether there is any hurry in your presentation or not. That shows your maturity. And certainly, I would like to agree with Mr. Imran Saeed that this is perhaps after a long time we are listening from somebody that what is the cost per kilometer in various classes of rock. So certainly, I think that is going to enlighten many people who are working in this area, and particularly you have related it with AGO. Adverse geological occurrences, which many people call EGO also. But I sometimes later I would like to understand from you that here in case of Tala, what was the definition of AGO? Because this is a very disputed area. And second thing which I would like to request for your second lecture perhaps is sometimes later in DDAG, that it's a hypothetically I am trying to correlate. In case you have to make this tunnel again, what improvements you would like in the investigations of this this tunnel? Suppose in case, because this tunnel was, as far as I understand, was investigation data was mostly from geological mapping, but it was a very good quality geological mapping. So what else could be done in case of these kind of long tunnels, which may improve our construction, and maybe we will be in a better position to divide, to estimate and predict the poor rock zones. With this, I thank you again, because time is running out and we normally try to finish our open house programs in time. So we take leave, and now I request Mugdha ji to please close the session.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Dhawan.
Thank you, Dr. Dhawan. I once again thank Dr. Rajbal Singh on behalf of DDAG for sparing his time and sharing his knowledge with all of us. So that's all for today. Thank you everyone for watching and joining us today. We'll be meeting you again next month on second Saturday. And that's all. Thank you once again. Thank you so much.
Namaskar.
Namaskar. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Namaskar. Jai Hind.
Namaskar. Namaskar.
Namaskar.